An Israeli raid on Nusrat camp town in central Gaza was conducted yesterday, 8th of June, and resulted in the murder of 250 Palestinian civilians. That's right, 250. Here we see some IDF footage of the extraction. It sounds very sanitized, but it was an extraction that involved an airstrike deliberately on the Nusrat market, in which hundreds died, murdered. There's been very little coverage of the reality of this. The Guardian, the so-called liberal newspaper, talks about 93 dead, according to Hamas, as if maybe that isn't true. That was at 8 o'clock yesterday they reported that, but it was already known that 200 at least had been murdered. Here we have the New York Times and their coverage of it, which is a bit better, but it doesn't really go into the details of what really went down in that raid, how they used an aid truck to get into the area they wanted to target, how they massacred people at the market, how the Delta Force of the US Armed Forces was involved in the extraction, how it was that the Israelis used the US-built pier, again, as part of that extraction, a deconflicted area. That is actually a war crime, in addition to the major war crime, of course, of the 250 people dead. But it is a war crime to dress up as doctors, as Israelis are fond of doing. They did it before in one of their other special operations. And here we have the New York Times report, followed by the Washington Post, which is a bit better. Here we are. At least it gives a number there, 236. Maybe that's because there were 75,000 people ringing the White House in Washington, D.C. yesterday. This is an outrage. Israel must be held accountable for its crimes. And here we have the Red Line protests yesterday in Washington, D.C. surrounding the White House. A red line because Biden said there was a red line that America was drawing in the sand, which was to prevent the invasion of Rafah. But the invasion of Rafah, of course, is ongoing. The Americans have done nothing. In fact, they've actually assisted in the genocide, as we have just seen.